What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about the possible unexpected return of Blackout and other Warzone maps, some future remasters, and even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and let me know down below in the comment section which Battle Royale map do you want to see return in a future Call of Duty installment. Let it be the Blackout map, let it be some previous Warzone experiences, or hell, even some of the fire team maps we had over in Cold War. Do you want to see those combined as the big Hero Mountains experience? Let me know how you're feeling, because that's going to be a big part of today's commentary. And this is a video that I honestly didn't expect to be making this weekend, but hopefully you guys stick around. Check out timestamps down below if you're interested. But as of January 29th, which is today, it marks the 10-year anniversary since the Black Ops 2 DLC pack Revolution, which did feature Call of Duty's first DLC weapon, the Peacekeeper. Now, since then, we've had 244 DLC weapons added to Call of Duty. Look at this list that was provided by Bob's Network over on Twitter. We had 2 in BO2, just 3 in Ghost, then 15 Advanced Warfare, then what I thought was the most DLC weapons ever through Black Ops 3, which is 51, and then we had about 17 for IW. We had the most for World War II with a whooping 54, and then a decent amount for BO4. We had 18, 23 for MW19, 35 for Cold War, 23 for Vanguard, and then 3 for Modern Warfare 2 thus far. So it's been a hell of a journey when it comes to DLC weapons for Call of Duty. Hopefully Modern Warfare 2 does get a fair amount more over the next couple of seasons of this game's life cycle. But also be sure to check out COD Peter over on Twitter. If you guys are looking for assistance with camo grinding for Polyatomic, even Orion, be sure to check him out for some very reasonable prices. No unlock tools, no cheating, no BS. He does provide some pretty fair rates over on Twitter. I'll have him linked down below in this video's description. Now, something that Charlie Intel put out a couple of days ago, which I wanted to go a little bit deeper into, was this following tweet. I think that Warzone needs an ability to support multiple large-scale maps so that we can have rotations of maps instead of an end for every map. Now, what's ironic about that is that they already kind of tried this with Rebirth and Fortune's Keep. For some reason, through Warzone 1's life cycle, they really didn't want us to have access to both of those Resurgence maps at once, and I'm really not sure why, especially considering Fortune's Keep was the shortest lived Battle Royale map for Call of Duty, but I could see that being the case for the bigger maps. I think for Resurgence maps, it's okay to leave in 2 or 3 at a time, but for the bigger maps, I could see them having a reason to say, you know what, let's rotate one in for a couple of days and another map for the couple of days after that. That's something that I see as reasonable, but overall, I think just leaving them all in at once wouldn't be bad for the player base at all. Now, I also wonder if the current strategy, considering the upcoming release of Warzone Mobile, is to have a new big map available in Warzone 2. So for example, right now we have Al Mazrah, and then let's say in the next 9 months we got a new big Warzone map for Warzone 2. Al Mazrah will then be thrown into Warzone Mobile. I mean, that's kind of what I'm guessing they want to do, considering the fact that Verdansk and Rebirth are no longer playable in Warzone 1, and those maps are both going to be playable in Warzone Mobile. I think maybe at some point soon we'll probably see Fortune's Keep also added to the game, but since Caldera is still playable in Warzone 1, they might leave that just on Warzone 1 forever, console and PC, and they'll never end up porting that map over into mobile since there's not really a point. But I do wonder if that's the current strategy, to make sure that all Warzone maps will coexist, but only some will be available on select platforms at specific moments in time. Now, here's what happened as of a couple of days ago. Activision started sending out a survey asking people what they think the next Warzone map should be, and it does include remasters of old Warzone maps as options. Now, it doesn't confirm that any of these are 100% coming back as remasters, but it's a very interesting survey. So the options are an all-new map, which I certainly want to see, the return of Verdansk 84 from Cold War's life cycle, since apparently that was played quite a bit, the return of Caldera, which, you know, not many people are going to be voting for, the return of the original Verdansk map from MW's life cycle, then the last option is the return of the Blackout map from BO4. Some very interesting choices here, and I think what's also funny is that Fortune's Keep is not listed as an option, even though it was the most short-lived map. I wonder if the player count was that low on Fortune's Keep to the point where they just see no reason to ever bring it back, even for Warzone Mobile. I'm also confused as to why Caldera is even an option, since that map is still playable through Warzone 1 on console and PC right now. So the other thing is, okay, with these maps that you can choose from, do they mean that if these were to come back, they would be through Warzone 2? I'm assuming that would be the case, right? Since Warzone 2 is probably going to have a good 3-year life cycle like Warzone 1 did. And I also wonder if this list is based on the top played maps, which would also be bad news for Fortune's Keep. That means Caldera was played more than Fortune's Keep ever was, which I think also makes sense considering how short-lived Fortune's Keep really was in Warzone's life cycle. So with the leak in mind that Los Alamos is also going to be a big Battle Royale experience in the future, we have the leaked points of interest that came out recently, even a possible TAC map image that was found in campaign. With that in mind, I do think that that map is still going to drop, but I'm curious if, because of the current reception surrounding Warzone 2 and Al Mazrah, maybe Activision is considering shuffling the plans for future Battle Royale maps to the point where Los Alamos might get pushed back or scrapped entirely in favor of doing a remaster of a certain map that they think would help significantly boost the player count of Warzone 2. And what I've been saying, even on recent podcasts, recent videos, is that Al Mazrah really isn't the problem. The map is great. I think it's laid out pretty well. There are some really fun points of interest. It's not the map that's the issue, whereas I think that was the case for Warzone Caldera last year, or Warzone Pacific, excuse me. I think this year it was just the fact that it's like we took many steps backwards from where we were in Warzone 1 in terms of gameplay, mechanics, and movement, and then now that they're walking back on all those changes by Season 2, it's like, alright, now we're going back to the roots of what Warzone 1 is. Better late than never, but it might be a little late to the point where people out there might not return despite the reverted changes. So I think by Season 2 we'll be able to really tell what Warzone 2 is all about. It'll probably feel like the actual version of Warzone 2 that they probably wanted to put out, or maybe Raven wanted to put out, but Infinity Ward didn't, since they were the ones that I believe changed everything about Warzone 2 fundamentally. It just seemed like they slapped the Battle Royale on top of DMZ, when what they should have done is just kept Warzone 2 separate from DMZ altogether. Now, I do want to remind you that just because this is an Activision survey, that doesn't mean that this is 100% set in stone. It does not mean that a Warzone map, or Blackout for that matter, is getting remastered at any point soon. I mean, keep in mind, Blackout is already available through COD Mobile, so I don't know if they're going to want to bring that map back again for console and PC. However, I do want to see how Blackout would perform if it just came back in its full glory with the same character quest, same map layout, or other updates it got over that cycle. I want to see how that map would perform for the Battle Royale community, Call of Duty specifically, when it's free to play and maybe allows for crossplay, whereas Blackout in 2018, 2019 did not offer those things, so I think it was always held back to begin with. And it's just ironic that the people that compare Warzone and Blackout only talk about gameplay and movement, but don't take into account that Blackout was never free to play, didn't offer crossplay, didn't really get much support after, half of Black Ops 4's life cycle. It still got some cool updates, but not nearly as much as what it was getting when Blackout first came out. So I don't think it was ever really fair to compare Blackout and Warzone, but you might call me a Black Ops fanboy for saying that. I do love Warzone, I really do, but I'd love to see at least how Blackout's map and that layout would play out on the new IW9 engine that Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 currently uses. So I'm always open to that idea, and I think, you know, considering how much fun we had covering Blackout a couple of years ago, I would love to revisit that game yet again on the brand new engine. Now, to be honest with you, I do think if the Blackout map were to return at any point in Warzone 2's application, that should probably be during the next Black Ops game's life cycle. Maybe the next Black Ops game comes out and then there's a new Warzone 2 map that fits whatever the environment and theme is of that Black Ops game. That'll be like the Al Mazrah for that game's launch, for that game's Season 1, but then maybe during Season 3 or 4 they bring Blackout back in its full glory for Warzone 2's app to really show people out there how special Blackout really was, how it was ahead of its time, but was just held back by something as simple as no crossplay or not being free to play for that long. So maybe that's a better idea instead of doing that during Modern Warfare's life cycle or even in 2023. However, if you look at the fact that 2023 is the 20-year anniversary of Call of Duty and we still don't know what game is actually coming out for fall 2023, maybe to celebrate the legacy of COD, not only do they bring back a multiplayer full of remastered maps that's from a catalog of Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward games, not only do they have a spin-off campaign surrounding the Ghost, not only do they have maybe even a Zombies mode, they might even bring back the Blackout map to launch with that game. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, since Fortune's Keep isn't a quote-unquote big map, that's probably why it's not listed here in the survey, so I do understand that, but what I do want to say is hopefully when it comes to the next big Warzone map, they don't fall to the same level that multiplayer has kind of fell to over the last few years, where they say, okay, people would probably play the game more if it's a remaster, not a new map, therefore let's put out more remasters than anything. I hope Warzone never goes down that path, because although people probably would prefer the original Verdansk or the Blackout map right now, it's always great to see something fresh, something brand new that we haven't seen before. That to me is what COD is all about every single year, and I think people out there are feeling the fatigue of the countless remasters we've gotten in multiplayer over the years. And look at Season 1 for Modern Warfare 2, for example, just getting shipment in Shoe House. People out there are really beginning to just express that fatigue online. They were for many years, but I think this year especially, considering multiplayer didn't get any new maps in Season 1, people are fed up with that. So I don't think it's the best idea for Warzone to also go down that path and be like, yeah, I think we should just do some more remasters to boost that player base. I think if you just keep putting out really original, fun, and creative new maps, while also acknowledging and honoring where Warzone Warzone 1 was at the end of Vanguard's life cycle with all the quality of life improvements, with the gameplay and mechanic innovations. If you just keep that going all at once, people will warm up to the new maps and experiences, right? But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the possible unexpected return of Blackout and other Warzone maps in the future? I really do wonder what Activision's plan is. I wonder if Warzone Mobile has anything to do with this as well, where they just say, hey, you know what? You guys want to see these maps come back? We'll just throw them into Warzone Mobile, but not Warzone 2.0 on console and PC. I'm really curious what their plan is based on just the player feedback, looking at the fact that the player count has dropped off drastically for Warzone 2. I wonder what their safety net or their plans B, C, and D are for the future of this battle royale. I really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.